welcome back to my channel, Book Talks with Yo. My name is Yoanna and today I'm going to tell you all about my top 10 embarrassingly still unread books. What I mean with this is that I'm going to talk about some of those very famous books, both here on booktube or just in general, that I still haven't read. Now, let me just admit that 10 is just the tip of the iceberg of my TBR, because lately I've been reading a lot of blacklisted books. But I promise, I'll read them very soon, so just hold me accountable, please. And I think that without further ado, we can just get into the books of the video. The first book on this list is Soul to the Sea by Ruta Sepetys. I've heard many people talk about this book here on booktube or post about it on their bookstagram, so it has been on my TBR for quite some time. I don't really know much about the plot, apart from the fact that it takes place somewhere in East Prussia in 1945, I think, and that it is told by 4 different perspectives of those 4 people that are fleeing their countries that have been torn by the Second World War. I know that they're trying to reach this ship that is supposed to take them to safety by the Red Army. And yeah, that really is all I know, but I love historical fiction, so it's a mystery for me why I still haven't picked that one up. The second book on this list is The Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue by Mackenzi. Now, I've heard so many good things about this book, and the premise just sounds so intriguing that this is probably the book I'm most likely to read in the very near future. For those of you that don't know, it tells the story of 18-year-old Henry, or Montague, who was born and bred to be a gentleman, but he is rather known for his reckless and venturesome way of life, and of course for his passion for gambling, for booze, and for waking up in the hands of different men and women. However, he has to take after his father's estate, so obviously his way of living has to change. But before that, he embarks on this year-long grand tour across Europe with his best friend Percy by his side. Now, for Monty, he sees that as his last indulgent adventure, but everything changes after one reckless decision on his side turns this into a manhunt across Europe. I know that it also takes place in 1700s England, and yeah, that pretty much is all I need to know to make me want to read it, because, you know, historical fiction, adventure, romance, fun situations, I mean, what else can I want? What else can I possibly want, right? The next book is actually one that I have on my physical TBR, and that's The Secret History by Donna Tartt. Now, this book is rather new to my TBR because I've only started really hearing about it in the past year. However, again, I don't really know much about the plot, apart from the fact that it's set in college in New England. And that pretty much is all I need to know in order for me to want to read a book, that it's set in college. But yeah, I know that there is some mystery, that there is a murder happening right at the beginning, there's this classics professor and 6 of his students. And yeah, as I said, I don't know much, but I like going into books knowing as little as possible, especially with mysteries. As well as that, it sounds like a great autumn read, so I might be picking it up very soon. The next one is a book very much talked about here on booktube, and that's The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. Now, again, I don't really know much about the plot. Shocking, I know. Apart from the fact that it's about this magical, wandering circus that just appears and disappears without any notice, and that there's this some kind of a game, like a competition between 2 of the characters. Yeah, that's pretty much all I need to know for me to want to read that book, because I've heard great things about the writing and the magical system, so I'm excited to give it a go soon. The 5th book on this list is actually a series, and it's The Song of Ice and Fire by George R.R. Martin, or how it is known by the TV show Game of Thrones. Now, I've had some hard time with the show, meaning that I started watching the series long after everyone had already watched them, because I was reluctant for some reason to give them a go. However, after I started, I binge-watched the last few seasons, and we're not going to talk about the 8th one, so I binge-watched them, and after that, I bought the books. Then they have been sitting on my shelf, as you can see, for quite some time, but I keep finding excuses why not to read them. See, now, I know that George R.R. Martin is famous for his unique writing style, so I'm really expecting to like them, and I can't give you a valuable explanation why I'm not already reading them. Well, maybe I'm just intimidated by the size of them, because they are big, and when I start a new series, I like to get completely immersed into that universe, and I just cannot start another book. But yeah, I know that's not a valuable excuse, so I'm hoping I will start reading them very soon. Next one is a book that's not that hugely present on the platform, but is still very famous and talked about. This is Woolitta by Vladimir Nabokov. Now, this book is different from the rest in a number of aspects. Like, firstly, it is considered a classic, but most importantly, it is a very controversial book. I've heard many mixed reviews, and I feel like people either love it or hate it. Like, there is no middle ground, there is no middle point in the spectrum. I've heard people say that they like the writing style, the language that is used, but they say that the topics that it concerns are very sensitive and not very easy for all the stomach. Now, I briefly know that we have this narrator, Humbert, who is in love with a girl, or I can even say child, who is a lot younger than him, and that's Lolita. But I also heard that this book is praised for its genius, for its brilliant wordplay, for its great use of language, so I really want to read this book at some point when I'm ready to do so, because I want to see for myself how it tackles the themes it concerns. Next one on my list is another series, and that's the Illuminae Files by Amie, Kaufman and Kristoff. This book is so popular and read and loved by so many people that it is a surprise even for me why I still haven't picked it up yet. Well, I'm not really good with science fiction, but to be honest, I haven't read that many books in that genre. I've read like 2 or 3 science fiction novels before, but it has always been something from my uni, so that may be partially the reason why. But in the same time, like the media, the form, the way this book is written is so interesting, so unique and original that it's piquing my interest and curiosity. I know that it's set in the very far future, in something like 2575, I believe, and that it is on an aircraft in space, and that some kind of a plague breaks out. Yeah, now that I think about it, that's gonna be a thematic read right now, a thematic book very much. Yeah, and as well as that, I know that there are those 2 people that are forced to work together in order to basically survive and find out what's going on. That's pretty much a vague description of the first book, but I don't want to spoil myself because I think that the Illuminae Files will be an experience like no other. Next one on my list is The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Jenkins Reid. Last year, I listened to the audiobook and immediately after that read Daisy Jones and the Six, which is by the same author, and it turned out to be one of my favorite books of all time. So when I found out that this book was written by the same author, I immediately added it to my TBR, and after that I heard many people talk about it on booktube or bookstagram, so I've been wanting to read it even more and more. I know that it is about this Hollywood reclusive movie icon, Evelyn Hugo, who is finally willing to share about her scandalous life full of drama, lies, and a few husbands, here and there of course. In order to do that, she chooses an unknown magazine reporter, Monique Grant, who is very surprised to be chosen for such an important role. I also recently found out that it's told switching between past and present perspective, so that's also something very interesting. And yeah, I'm looking forward to giving it a try and finding out whether I love it as much as Daisy Jones and the Six, or even more maybe. Okay, so the last 2 books on my list are again series and are probably my most guiltily unread ones, because I feel like everyone has read them except me. The first one is The Raven Cycle by Stiefvater. I know, but in my defense, I'm planning on reading them very soon. They sound like a good autumn read, so I might be picking them up this month or in November maybe. I know that there are 4 books in the series, and it's about those 5 different people who stumble across some ancient magic in Virginia. Yeah, we're not surprised that again I don't know much about the book, but yeah, I've heard that friendship and adventure are big topics in the series, so I might as well just dive into the worlds of the Raven Cycle boys and find that out on my own. And lastly, the second series is truly Devious by Maureen Johnson. It is YA, it is crime, it is mystery, and it is set at school. Why haven't I read it? No one knows. But it's on my October spooky TBR, so I'm rectifying that mistake very soon. I know that it is set in Ellingham Academy, which is this private school in Vermont, I believe, that is for the brightest thinkers, creators, inventors, and artists. And I know that the founder of the school actually becomes a victim of a crime very soon after opening the academy, as his wife and daughter are kidnapped. And the mystery around this kidnapping is so great that no one has been able to solve it. It turns into one of America's greatest unsolved crimes. That is, of course, before young and bright Stevie Bell enrolls into this academy. She has a passion for true crime and is resolved on solving this case. However, another murder happens at that time and the 2 mysteries are interwoven. See, now, I'm such a scaredy cat, but this book sounds so good, like the whole series sounds so good, that I'm ready to read them. I'm excited to read them. So yeah, that pretty much wraps up today's video. I really hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out on my new videos, and please let me know down in the comments if you've read any of those books and what do you think about them. If you have any recommendations on which books I should read first, please just comment down. Thank you once more for watching, and I really hope to see you all next time. Until then, have a smiley week. Bye!